Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the news bulletin for this Tuesday, the 2nd of December. Mukesh Valabji and his wife, Laura, were released on bail this afternoon. They had been held in pre-trial detention for 4 years in connection with a case involving weapons possession and terrorism-related charges. Chief Justice Ronnie Govinden ordered their release after new medical evidence was presented in court. According to an expert report, Mukesh Valabji requires surgery that cannot be safely carried out in custody due to hygiene and health concerns. A cardiology assessment also identified several serious medical conditions. On the basis of this new evidence, the Chief Justice ruled that it represented a significant change in circumstances and that granting bail was necessary to allow the first defendant to receive urgent medical treatment. He further determined that it would be unjust to continue holding Laura Valabji in pre-trial detention, given that all other co-defendants have already been granted bail. Both defendants were released under strict conditions, including the surrender of their travel documents, a requirement to report to the police weekly, and a prohibition on leaving Seychelles. The government has reiterated that the stop notice issued for the hotel development project on Assumption Island will remain in force for as long as required, until all environmental and regulatory concerns have been fully addressed. The confirmation came during President Patrick Hermini's first official visit to the island, a report by Michel Murray.
The president was accompanied by Vice President Sébastien Pillet and a delegation of ministers. While on site, they received a briefing on the project's progress from the Island Development Company's Deputy CEO, Christian Leone, who noted that construction had continued up until the 14th of last month when the stop notice was formally issued. Assumption Island, which is administered by the IDC, currently costs around 11 million rupees a year to maintain. According to IDC, the proposed hotel project presents a key opportunity to make the island financially sustainable and to contribute to the national economy. The visit also allowed representatives of the Seychelles Island Foundation, SIF, and Friends of Aldabra to put forward questions and voice their concerns directly to government officials. President Hermini reiterated that a commission of inquiry to be chaired by Judge Matilda Toomey will be established next week. Its mandate will be to thoroughly review the project's implementation, the administrative decisions taken to date, and the responsibilities of the various parties involved.
The National Assembly approved a supplementary budget of 452 million rupees, funded from 969 million rupees left unspent since June 2025. Presenting the budget, Leader of Government Business Sylvain Lumiel explained that the funds will cover projects and services initiated under the previous administration. Mrs. Lumiel noted that the media review by Minister Pierre Laporte showed stronger than expected economic performance, with a fiscal surplus of 692 million rupees instead of the projected 6 million and a reduced debt to GDP ratio of 55.2%. She said this indicated financial sustainability. Despite these positives, the Leader of Government Business noted concerns. Several planned 2025 projects have not materialized and need to be realigned with current economic conditions. The Vice President of the National Assembly, or Deputy Speaker, Mr. Egbert Aglaé, announced that the Assembly would review the procedure for questions of public interest PNQs pursuant to Article 35. This decision was prompted by the refusal of the Leader of the Opposition in the National Assembly, Mr. Bernard Georges, to present a PNQ he had submitted the previous morning, which he claimed concerned an urgent national issue. The Deputy Speaker, however, granted Mr. Georges permission to submit his PNQ to the Assembly as a privilege. At the beginning of this morning's session, the National Assembly touched on two matters, one concerning World AIDS Day, observed yesterday, and the other concerning Soldiers' Week. The first message was presented by Ms. Balissa Lepati, MNA for Grand Osmaé, and the second by Ms. Valdana Sultan, proportional MNA for the LDS party. For 3 weeks, officers from the Seychelles Fire and Rescue Services Agency SFRSA underwent specialized training in managing and extinguishing fires involving hazardous chemicals. The closing ceremony, held on Friday, allowed participants to present a practical demonstration of the techniques they had learned. Each officer also received a certificate attesting to the successful completion of the training, which aims to strengthen the country's capacity to respond effectively to any incident involving hazardous substances. The Minister of Homeland Security and Civil Affairs, James Camille, on an official visit to Praslin, attended the certificate presentation. The Chief of Fire, Tali Domingue, commended the smooth running of the program and the officers' motivation throughout the training program. And that was it for now, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back at 8 p.m. with the news in Creole.